Coming up this week on Beyond the Vibe podcast, we're joined by Robert John of Robert John and the Wreck.
Went to college for drums too, and then I kept falling away from drums and wanting to sing and play guitar more. And then from then I just started writing songs and meeting people who played other instruments. The first single that's coming out, Shine On Me Brother. I listened to a lot of gospel music growing up. My dad always had, gospel music on, and it kind of reminds me of where I came from a little bit because it has that gospel feel. And the song just turned out just amazingly how we thought it was going to. So yeah, that would be a trip, no pun intended, but yeah. And I feel like next week I would say something totally different, or if I didn't have as much coffee as I've had this morning, it might be fun.
Hello and welcome to Beyond the Vibe, the show that cuts deep into the world of music. Chicago.
My name is Aaron Day, the guitarist of UK band These Wicked Rivers, and I'm here with music videographer and photographer, Mr. Ryan Vasey.
It is.
How you doing, Mr. Vasey?
We're doing good. Technically the last episode of Season 1.
It's been a long, hard journey. Coming here every week.
Our 30th episode, which is mad to think about.
I think you look older.
I know, I feel like I've aged.
No, you don't. You look lovely, as usual. Yeah, we've come a long way, haven't we? I mean, the first one, we started it off as a football.
It's a mad journey.
We don't know about. And then we interviewed Richie Heavens. It was obviously a big kind of bit of an idol for both of us, wasn't it?
Yeah.
For Heaven's Basement and Roadstar fame, he was kind of our first musician guest, and we kind of thought, shit, like we could enjoyed
just
that.
Carry that on.
Yeah, and then. Can you remember who we had second? Was it Mr. Danny Cruz?
Yeah, we went in strong with Danny Cruz. It's not bad, is it?
Yeah, and then we had some brothers. We had the Tides in, and then I think we had I can't remember who we had. Maybe Mr. Tom of Wolfjaw. Maybe after that.
I think so.
And over the 30 or so episodes, I think we've it's been nice to link up with musicians that like I haven't seen for a long time, because of COVID, bring the community together a little bit, But for us, I think I've enjoyed getting into new bands, man.
Yeah, I mean that's been a thing for me. It's like there's some bands and some musicians that I perhaps wouldn't otherwise.
A lot of albums we'd have probably
listened to. Yeah, it's. So yeah, it's been like a really cool experience, but of course it's not the end of the road.
Is it not? I thought, are we not calling it a day?
It's not it after 13. There will be a 31, but technically it's just season 2, which will be miles away of next week. So yeah,
we have a big gap.
So it's
big rest.
Yeah.
Slide to season 2. No, I'm proud of it, man. I think we've done well. Thanks for everyone's support. New Wave of Classic Rock. Jeremy always gives us a shout. All the bands that have given their time to have a chat to us and use the Vibe as a platform. Shout out to Mr. Peter Noble, who we've worked with for a while. V from Duff Press. It's been a good journey, man. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been really cool, and of course we still have a guest left.
I thought we were just going to bin it off.
Yeah,
we got a guest this week.
Yes, we do. We have Robert John of Robert John and the Wreck. So yeah, that's a new one. Another one that's from a different country.
Yes, that's cool. I've enjoyed that. We'll think of people we've had from different countries. I mean, Damn Truth.
Yeah.
Springs to mind. Obviously, Canadian rockers. We had Lips.
Yeah. Lips of Anvil.
We're really rocking the Canada look. And I think it's cool to. I know of Robert John and the Wreck. Obviously, some sort of very southern sort of tendencies and sounds. I'm obviously a big fan of that. I'm loving that Blackberry Smoke album, by the way.
Oh yes.
I've given Mr. Vasey the task of listening to Holding All the Roses, because I think that is the gateway album he needs to Blackberry Smoke.
Right.
I think if you listen to this new one, I think it will be a bit too
far.
Hey now, you take the power of me. I think it'd be a little bit too. I mean, I think it's wonderful, but I think I've had that gateway to Blackberry of when the heavier
like
side of them. Yeah, so now it's like I'm fully involved. It's like Blackstone. I had a bit more time for Blackstone, and really gave him an opportunity.
Because they really needed that chance.
They needed that chance, everyone goes on a journey, and more people expressing themselves. But yeah, I love a bit of southern rock, and It's a cool chat with Robert John and the Wreck. And if people want to hear that interview, right, for the last time on season 1, when can they hear that?
People can hear that now.
So we're here with Robert John Burton. How do you pronounce your surname, Robert?
Burrison.
Burrison, spot on. And
Burrison.
And Robert John is, of course, of Robert John and the Wreck. Thanks for joining us, Robert.
Thanks for having me.
So one thing that we like to do on the show, Robert, is we like to go right back to the beginning of a musician's journey. So how did it all start for you? Did you start off as a guitarist, or did singing come first?
I started playing piano in about first grade, as a young person who didn't even know why I was doing what I was doing. You know, your parents just say, go learn how to play piano. Why? I don't know what that means. So I started that, and then I started playing drums in 5th grade, because in 5th grade over here, you have to pick an instrument, you know, that you learn. And then I didn't pick up the guitar until, I think I was 12, and it was just my dad was always playing guitar. He's like the 3-chord genius. He could play any song with 3 chords that he knew. But that was kind of it, you know? So he taught me a couple chords, and I just started playing around with it, you know, playing Merle Haggard songs and Bob Dylan songs. And, but my focus was actually drums for most of my, high school. I was in, the drum line and playing drums in bands. So I wasn't thinking about singing or anything like that. And I could only dabble on guitar. I kind of didn't know much of anything. But, somewhere in the middle of high school, I started, trying to write songs and singing, and, and then it just kind of reversed. I mean, I went to college for drums too. And then I kept falling away from drums and, wanting to sing and play guitar more. And then from then I just started writing songs and meeting people who played other instruments that, kind of came together naturally. I wasn't out there trying to find something. I mean, my first tour I went on by myself, just playing coffee shops and shit. So
that's cool, man.
Yeah. And then, slowly finding the right people to surround you musically, and kind of went off from there.
Cool. I mean, it's interesting because a lot of front men kind of look to being at the front, whereas obviously you've always been at the back, and I get the feeling from you talking that it's more about that eagerness and that desire to want to express yourself through writing songs. Is that the key thing? Is that it's just that gave you the platform in order to do that more than drumming?
Yeah, because being back behind the drums, I was still writing the songs with the guys. I was still arranging and saying that sounds good, putting that there. So it became easier for me to express exactly what I wanted to say and do with the guitar and my voice, opposed to being behind the drums and expressing myself that way, which I still love to play the drums every now and then. But it's just, I caught on to that other side a little bit more than the drum side.
Cool.
And surrounding myself with drummers who are way better than me, I was like, well, you guys can do that. I'll try this out.
Well, you spoke about it there in terms of getting together the right set of musicians. So how was that process for you? And in terms of the sound of the band, did you already kind of put that together, as you say, on that first tour by yourself, or did it come together when you brought them set of musicians together? Yeah, I mean, I never... in the beginning, it was just trying to find people who wanted to go play music. There's a ton of musicians out there, but some people are like, oh no, I play in my room. I don't really want to play with people, where you meet those people like, let's jam, let's see what happens, and the first tours and writing songs with a band was, we were called Robert John Band. But then we were writing songs together, and we were touring, and we were sacrificing certain things to do things for this band. So I wanted it to be more of a band feel. So that's why we created Robert John and the Wreck. And we didn't go into it with, we're going to sound like this, so we need to make sure everyone's playing these things. The sound just kind of came from the individuals in the room and how we decided to play the songs and put them together. So it was never a conscious, like, we're going to sound like this. And even to this day, it's not like that. We catered to the song. And if a song has a Motown feel, then we push the Motown feel a little bit more. We're not trying to, and if the song is like a heavy rock song, let's push into the heavy rock part,
we try to cater to the song more than cater to what people expect us to sound like.
Yeah, I'm really into that mentality, man. I always find that
it's still us.
Yeah, I think you as long as you're being true to yourself, I think that shines through a lot stronger than trying to force the issue. I think that natural approach where you just come together and then it just pours out of you, I think that works so well in a band dynamic because everyone can express themselves the way that they need to, you know, kind of emotionally or creatively or whatever, you know. Whereas when you force the issue, it just feels like it's manufactured and you don't all feel that togetherness, I find.
Yeah, and if the individual members aren't being able to express how they want to be, you know, how they want to express, they're going to, you know, not be as involved or as into it, you know. And we want to make sure that every song we play and every time we're playing live, we're all in the same, you know, mission, you know, of to just play a good show, opposed to, well, I'm not really into this song because I can't express myself how I want to, you know, like that doesn't make anyone feel good.
That's a great point.
So the upcoming album, Shine a Light on Me, Brother, did you do anything differently this time around, whether that be in like the writing or recording process?
A little bit. I mean, usually we have some, you know, smaller hometown shows and little things on the side, so we can put a song together and we can go play it live and see how it goes, you know, like testing the waters. And you know, that part felt too long, or you know, no one clapped at this song, so it must not be very good. You know, so we usually get to test out, you know, at least some of the main ones just to get the feel for it, because when you play in front of people, you get that energy back from them. And you're like, cool, like this is working, you know, or this part's not working. We got too weird. Like we went into that psychedelic section and no one knew what to do.
Oh no, we have that problem.
So it was a little bit of a challenge because all we had was, you know, we're writing together in a room without any way to share it or express it or feel what kind of energy would come back from it, because we couldn't go play a show, you know. And it kind of felt like we were just kind of killing ourselves. Like, cool, we wrote a song, we think it's good, but we can't try it out and see how it feels, you know, on a stage or something, which, you know, it's really important to me. I mean, the stage is where, you know, I want to be at all times. So that was a different way to do it. So when we got into the studio, we didn't get to feel that yet. So we had to kind of just pretend, you know, like this is the part that's going to be huge, you know, and which is very common. I mean, most people go in the studio, record the record, and then play it live. So I know that that's the normal thing to do. We just kind of do things a little differently. But you know, we recorded it the same way. We recorded with our good buddy Jeff Frickman up in Burbank, California, all in our different rooms. And it just once we heard the final product and we added the horns and background vocals, everything kind of came to life and came together, and we're super stoked about it. So we're excited to talk about it and get it out to everyone's ear.
That's cool, man. I mean, you spoke about the different process for yourselves because you like to go out there and test the water, and that helps the whole kind of cumulative process of bringing the album together. How do you feel the album compares to obviously your different releases up to this point? How do you feel the band's developed, or for yourself, do you feel you've developed certain things, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to songwriting, we're always developing that more and more. I mean, maybe the concepts of the songs and what we're writing about and how we're putting those songs together. So I think that's always a challenge for us to want to, you know, put it on a different pedestal, you know, put it up a little bit more. And the decisions that we're making, you know, in the past when I was younger, it'd be, that's a cool riff, I'll sing some gibberish over it and that sounds good, we'll put it out. What does it mean? I don't know. What does it mean to you? But we're kind of just, you know, what does this mean? Here's what we're talking about. And here's, you know, at the time what we were feeling. And I think that we're always trying to strive for that and make sure that we're conscious of that and making each song what the song needs, instead of kind of wiping over it.
Because with the title, it's quite a distinctive thing. Do you feel the album has an overall message that you guys are trying to put across, or is it more just a collection of songs that kind of just represent the band and what the band are trying to achieve and that connection with the fans?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's a collection of songs that we were writing together during COVID. So some of them, have darker tones, and some of them have positive tones, looking towards the future, getting out of the darkness and coming to the light, which is what that song's about. Getting out of this, the darkest year that a lot of us have felt or had, at least if you're my age, and looking to the light and just getting out of this bullshit dark year that we've all, the whole globe, has experienced it. It's not just one country. It's not just one group of people. It's everybody has experienced this together, which is, I think, just kind of crazy to think about for too long. So I'm not thinking about it now at all.
Shine the light, man. Shine the light.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, is there any favourites for you on the album? Any that you'd point out to people when it comes out?
Yeah. So we the first single that's coming out, Shine a Light, Brother. I listened to a lot of gospel music growing up. My dad always had, gospel music on, and it kind of reminds me of where I came from a little bit, because it has that gospel feel. And the song just turned out just amazingly how we thought it was going to, which was great. And we got to do a little bit of co-writing on this record, and one song in particular is called Movin', which is on the record. And it's a co-write with a good buddy of mine, Nick Foster, up in Seattle. And we just kind of, took a really simple thing and created, what I think is just a grooving song from front to back. Just kind of showed the guys, and Henry created this riff that I don't even know where it came from, but it just works so fluidly. And so that, I think it always changes week by week, but Moving right now, it's kind of special to me just because of the people involved in it. It was just a different experience,
That's cool, man. Now, we spoke about sort of your progression from coming from behind the kit and coming to the front of the stage, and that kind of. It's not. God forbid, the idea of my drummer being a front man gives me nightmares. It gives me the shakes, Robert. Serious. So it's quite a weird sort of thing. Obviously we've seen over the years Phil Collins do it and a few others. One of the questions we like to ask people is, when it comes to, particularly as a front man, like when you go on stage, I always find that you slip into a bit of a different character, because you're serving a different purpose than obviously when you're in your day to day. Was there anybody in particular that influenced you when you formed your character as a frontman and as a guitarist and as an overall sort of leader of the band at the front?
That's a good question. I think I never put any thought to it. As far as when I get out there and we get going, and I do feel like there's a little different of a character on stage than there is off stage, but that's because you're feeling the adrenaline from the crowd, and you're performing, and you're connecting with all these different people, whether they know it or not, but there's energy coming back to you, and it just creates a different overall essence of who you are. When you get off stage, you're if you're talking to someone, it's just you and that person. And when you're up there, you have all these energy eyes at you. But I've never I've always been more influenced by, certain singers, but not really their stage performance, because I never saw them, Like growing up, I listened to Aerosmith all the time, and I love Steven Tyler's voice. There's certain things that he can do that I'll never be able to, but just the way he approaches himself. And Jay from the Rival Sons are good friends of ours, but we went on a small run with them, and I just watching him he commands every single inch of that stage. If it's not with his physical body, it's with his voice. And so it's always been an inspiration and kind of a mentor to growing, to going farther in this crazy music world.
Yeah, that's cool, man. We're both big fans of Jay. We think in terms of like new vocalists and just that changing of the tide. You know, he's very iconic, and I agree completely. Commands it, you know, in many ways, you know. And it's, I'm glad that, I mean, we've asked the question a lot, and a lot of people answer it by saying that they don't really plan it, and I quite like that, because I feel like I think that the ones that do plan it, you can normally clock them, you know.
You can be like, that guy thought about this before he went up there.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's kind of how our old band works. I mean, we sometimes we have a set list because we think we need it, and then we just do whatever we want.
Oh, I like that.
We just kind of get up there because, I mean, every crowd is different, you know. Every country is different, and you can feel that up there. So if you go up there and just play the set that you've already written for a crowd that you don't even know how they're going to respond, to me, it doesn't make much sense. You know, you got to get up there, and if the crowd's wild, then, you know, you be wild with them. If the crowd just wants to hear some good songs and played well, then you kind of move into that side of things, you know. Because I feel like if you pretend each crowd's the same, then your show is the same, and that's it, you know. So at least we try to experience the experience with the whole room, you know, the whole crowd, you know.
Like that. And, I mean, me and Ryan are planning on maybe coming down to one of your shows with Troy at some point when you come into the UK. So we'll be keeping an eye out, seeing how you gauge in the room, and see the moment.
just judging me in the back of the notepad. No, he's getting this all wrong.
Yeah, no pressure.
no pressure. Yeah. We'll be at the back in sunglasses, just go.
Yeah,
wait for the moment.
Wear suits and everything.
100%,
one thing that we like to do also on the show is we like to ask kind of what a musician does away from the stage. So is there anything that you've kind of like to do in your own time, like maybe stuff that you picked up over this kind of weird time that we've lived in? Any new skills or hobbies?
I wish I created more skills. You know, everything always is, you know, has something to do with music. I mean, I love to travel, you know, and see new places and just experience new things and go out into the wilderness and hike and just, you know, be there. You know, I jam with a couple of other guys just on porches, you know, just acoustic jams, just on nights off, you know, and just hanging out with friends. I mean, is a big thing for me, just because I love my friends, you know. So we're always trying to see like when we're gonna have a barbecue or when we're just gonna get together and just shoot the shit and yeah, I don't think I created any brand new skills.
That's cool.
I just kind of been hanging out. You know, I've been, you know, we're always working on the music side of things and becoming better musicians, and you know, I'm always working on vocals and guitar stuff and everything like that. Because if you let it sit too long and you don't have any shows for 16 months or however long it was, you know, you can get a little stale. So at least we kept getting together and rehearsing and working on stuff throughout this whole time. Yeah, I just I like to travel when I get to, you know, just going up or camping or going up to going hiking or anything like that is always, I'm always down. Or just little adventures here and there, road trips. And I think during COVID it was more because we weren't on the road, you know, we weren't driving 8 hours a day to get to a new show, which I think I didn't realize how much I enjoyed that, and I don't think people normally enjoy things like that. But we do. We love being in the van and driving across the country and getting to from point A to point B. So
no, I like that, man. I think I'm really like, you're making me feel chilled just you talking about it, Robert. Like, I feel pretty chilled just listening to you talk about it, man. So I like that mentality. I won't worry too much, brother, that you've not picked up any skills, because I think it's important just to chill and just take that time and, like you say, spend time with people, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Opportunity, you know. But have you started playing shows yet back over in the US?
Yeah. Things have gotten a little busy out here. I think we played our first show in March, which things were a little weird, but we had a big outdoor area that we were kind of producing ourselves. And so since March, we've been able to play, and we've done quite a few cool little things. I mean, there's even been like a barbecue festival that not too far from us that we just played, and we just drove. Speaking of missing being in a van. We just drove 10 hours to Arizona to play a show and then drive 10 hours back. So, you know, I don't know why we do things like that, but it was actually really cathartic and fun and nice. And just to be back out on the road, back out and feeling that we have something to do again.
Yeah.
And the shows, at least, you know, around here, Southern California, have just been great. I mean, everyone's ready to get back and see live music and hear it and experience it and enjoy it again. So it's been nice. And we're looking forward to September actually being out, you know, back out in Europe and the first UK run that we've ever done. I mean, we were looking forward to it in 2020 and it just kind of got taken away from us. So we're really looking forward to being back out there and seeing what happens, you know?
Yeah, we're looking forward to having you, man. I think it'd be a good run.
One thing that we like to do is kind of we finish on a bit of a hypothetical question. So if you could tour with one band from the past and one band from the present, who would they be?
Oh, man,
it's a tough one. Everybody struggles with this one.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Man. All right. How long is the tour?
As long as you desire.
I mean, I think it's cliche, but I mean, being able to tour and experience what it was like when, you know, you always hear about those Grateful Dead tours and how they had a whole carnival of people just following them from city to city to city to city, just to set up in the parking lots to have a party. And just, you know, at their height of what they did, I don't really, they wouldn't be my first choice as far as like opening up for their musical style. I think they're great, but sometimes they're a little weird for me. But everything you hear about those tours and how those tours were just like an event, every single show, I think would be interesting to be a part of and see and right in their height of who they were. And I didn't think I was going to say the Grateful Dead, but I guess that would just the whole overall experience.
We talk a lot about like enjoying the journey and enjoying that like community and going from show to show. I mean, that's going to be all of that, man, isn't it? You know, it'd be mad. It'd be an experience as well.
Yeah. It's mostly for the experience, not really like to be on the stage before they play, but just to experience what the energy was and the feel.
Good choice.
And then as far as present day, and I feel like this answer is kind of cliche, but I've always looked up to Dave Grohl as a musician and as a person. I just feel like he's doing everything and doing it really well. And so I think if we guys would just go on a run with the Foo Fighters and you know, I feel like we could hang out with them. You know what I mean? Like we could sit on their bus and shoot the shit for a little bit and it would be normal. I don't know. I think that'd be my present day pick.
No,
I like that. Food's and Grateful Dead. I mean, I like that. I think that's sick.
It's a nice bit of variety.
I mean, you're gonna have a good time, man. It's gonna be.
Yeah. Oh, because it's on the same tour, right?
Yeah.
Potentially.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. So yeah, that would be a trip. No pun intended. But yeah, and you know, I feel like next week I would say something totally different, or if I didn't have as much coffee as I've had this morning, it might be fun.
I feel like
that sounds like a fun tour. I mean,
in this moment, I think you've made a cool choice. I mean, I'm a big fan of Foos. I mean, that last album they did. I mean, I wasn't overly keen on it, but I
really like the latest record.
Yeah, I really liked the latest record for a lot of the reasons you said. That it was they kind of. I like the fact they're still pushing themselves a little bit, but they never take themselves too seriously that it ruins it. You know, very comfortable with who they are, but still want to be creative. Like I think they're about to release a Bee Gees disco album.
Yeah, it's like I mean,
that's killer, man.
They had to just been sitting in a circle, probably like I don't know, drinking or something, and someone's like, you know what we should do? we should do a Bee Gees cover. That sounds like something we should do. And then they're like, yeah, because we can. We'll just play Madison Square Gardens and release a Bee Gees record. Everyone's gonna love it.
It'll be killer, and everyone, like you say, everyone will love it. Everyone will be happy.
Yeah.
And they go again. You know, I love Dave's enthusiasm. Like as you said, I watched that Sound City documentary, where he went. He saved the desk. And if I'm ever feeling uninspired, I tend to reach for something like that, and it's just killer. Like I just love how, like for me, it's again, he doesn't take himself too seriously. It's not an ego trip. It's just a celebration all the time. Like it never feels like it's about him. And I really vibe. I think that's hard when you're as big as Dave and the Foos are, you know. And he retains that all the time. So no, good choice, man. Good choice, Robert. Well into that. So we'd have Robert John on the Wreck opening, and then are we having Foos headlining or Grateful Dead? Who do you want headlining? Rotation. You can rotate.
Yeah, probably rotation.
Cool, we'll rotate it.
It's a co-headline tour.
Yeah, of Grateful Dead and Foo Fighters.
Yeah. It's going to be a weird crowd for sure.
It's going to be a crossover there.
Yeah, they're going to have the acid tripping hippies, and then like I don't even know what the Foos fans are. Probably just like the
big
the crowd that already like just has kids already, but they're getting out for a night.
Yeah, having their Mad Thursday.
They're just like play all my life. Monkey Wrench.
See,
we're gonna play music off the new record, and it was like, no.
This is my night out. This is our night out. We got a babysitter, man. We got a babysitter. I mean, I love the Grateful Dead fans tripping on acid, and then Foo Fighters whacking out Bee Gees covers, and then their minds just exploding.
That's gonna be what the best part is watching the tripping hippies be like, where am I? What's going on? I thought I was going to see the Dead, but the Foo Fighters are playing. Like,
and they're playing the Bee Gees.
Are the Foo Fighters the Dead? What? That's going to be a great experience.
I enjoyed just that. Never mind the gig. So I think either way, it's gonna be fantastic. That is a film or something that needs to happen.
It feels like it.
We'll work it out. Me and Ryan will talk, and we'll give you a bell, Robert. We'll make it happen.
Just keep me updated.
Cool. Right. Thanks ever so much for your time, Robert John. So Robert John and the Wreck. It's a new album, Shine Like My Brother, is out September 3rd. Do you know when you're over here for the tour, brother? With
it starts on August 28th. But when's our first date in the UK? I would have to look that up.
That's fine. Sorry to put you on the spot, but no, I know you're playing all up and down the country. The most local one to us is Bodega in Nottingham, and we'll definitely try and make that down for you, man. We'll have to catch up, sort of face to face.
Yeah. We're excited just to see the country. I mean, we played in London in 2019, so I've been to London before, and I got to see that, and I haven't seen much of anything else. So it'll be exciting to just experience it. It's always fun to go to new places and experience it with the people there, and we get to experience all these different cities, especially with the crowds and everyone's always usually telling us what we should go do. So if we have the time, we go do it, and looking forward to it.
I was just thinking about that, like telling you places to go hiking and shit you can look at after wandering through the fields and shit. So
yeah, I like to wander through fields all the time.
Absolutely fantastic. So if you're not already doing it, make sure you follow Robert John the Wreck on all the normal social medias, Facebook, YouTube, all that shindig, and make sure you check out the new album when it comes out on September 3rd. Thanks ever so much, dude. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
So yes, that was Robert John of Robert John and the Wreck. Southern and as chilled as always, but obviously as we explored in the interview, he's not really from the south, is he?
No. It's an interesting one, that one.
I do get the feeling, and which was kind of explored a little bit, is that I think in America that southern sound, a lot of people do generally link into it. I mean, I'm from fucking Derby,
a bit further afield.
Yeah, so I'm a big southern rock fan, so it's obviously must just be imprinted on the sort of the American character in general. And obviously, as we spoke about in the interview, touring with Troy Redfern. What do you think of that? I think that's a good duo. I mean, we're big fans of Mr. Redfern, aren't we?
Yeah, it'd be interesting. It's obviously it's going to be it's been a while since both have toured, at least in the UK. So that would be cool to come, to have a UK gig again.
Yeah, they're A-listed. The new single is A-listed on Planet Rock, which is really cool. And obviously the new album comes out around September time, so I think it'd be cool for people to check that out. We'd definitely be up for going and seeing them on a date with Mr. Redfern, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Getting our bluesy Southern slidey vibes. Bluesy Southern slidey vibes. It's amazing I said that twice. And now we reach a point, Mr. Vasey, of silent contemplation as we reach the end of...
Just the end of season 1.
I think we've done well to get through to this point.
You haven't quit.
I mean, a couple of times when we had a few. I've got if my expectations aren't met. We had a thing in the band where I played with a walkway once, and I was going up in solo in it all the time. And I said, right, moving forward, if I haven't got a walkway, I'm not playing the gig.
Just going to
next
stand
gig
there
in like the fucking Dog and Duck. And it's like, where's my runway? Where's my runway? But yeah, no, thank you for your company. Thank you for your company as well. And if people want to check out season 2, Mr. Vasey, where can they find that?
Well, you'll find us every week. If you want to find out what guest we've got, you can like our Facebook page.
Yes.
Every Wednesday from 10 a.m, we will reveal our new guest. And you can also subscribe to our YouTube. As of course, we don't just do podcasts now, do we?
No.
We also have. We also have extra vibes.
We do have extra vibes.
Which you always slate my intros for.
I don't. Slate's a big word. Slate's a big word. I just give some feedback, and if Mr. Vasey doesn't like it, I mean that's up to you. I think it's very self-descriptive, and I don't mind that at all. I think it's got its place, And we're knocking out some extra content now, and you should check that out specifically on the YouTube, exclusively.
Yes.
On the YouTube, we've been doing some top 10s. Some rundowns, and people should get in there, comment, share your opinion, because obviously we're not the masters of the universe.
No,
as much as Ryan thinks we are.
I mean, we may eventually be the way we're going.
But yeah, check us out, subscribe, listen to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts if you prefer to hear us in your ears rather than your eyes. But yeah, we've enjoyed it. Season 1 and Season 2 coming up.
Yes, tune in next week for a bit of a new beginning. See you next week.